Since I saw the first trailer, I was looking forward to watching Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, and finally got a chance to see it last weekend. And it was pretty disappointing, unfortunately. The worst thing about this movie is that the idea is actually very interesting, and it had enormous potential to be good, but it wasn't good. I did enjoy certain aspects of the movie, of course. Animation is actually pretty good, and I like the underwater scenes. It's not elemental level of good, but it's closer to something like The Sea Beast by Netflix, which isn't bad at all, of course. Ruby and Chelsea both have an extremely appealing character design. Human characters look pretty ugly though. I think animation style suits 2D much better than 3D. I haven't seen the movie storyboard. If you don't know what the storyboard is, this is what it looks like. But it's probably the situation when the storyboard looks better than the finished product. The idea, as I said, is very interesting, but an 80-minute movie is just a fundamentally wrong way to execute it. This could have been a decent animated show. DreamWorks made some good animated shows before. She-Ra and the Princess of Power was great, and many people like Kipo, even though I'm certainly not a fan. The story follows a 15-year-old girl named Ruby Gillman, who lives in a town named Oceanside. She and her entire family are blue, but they pretend they are from Canada. Apparently blue skin color is pretty normal in Canada. Ruby's mother doesn't allow her to even get close to the ocean, because there are allegedly scary sea monsters. But one day Ruby, trying to save her crush, who fell into the ocean, jumps into the water, and quite unexpectedly turns into a giant kraken. That's how she figures out that she's a kraken. She visits her grandmother, who is a queen of krakens, who tells Ruby that krakens are actually good, and for centuries they've been fighting evil mermaids. In the meantime, a new girl arrives at school. Her name is Chelsea and she's a mermaid. They become friends, and Chelsea tells Ruby that she must find an ancient trident in order to restore peace between the krakens and the mermaids. This all could be a pretty interesting show, and I insist that it should have been a show. What we actually got in the movie feels so extremely rushed and tonally inconsistent. We have 2 minutes of Ruby training with her grandmother, then Ruby spends 2 minutes trying to retrieve the magical trident. Ruby and Chelsea talk about how they visited all 7 seas in a day, but we never actually get to see it. We don't see anything. The movie just finds its feet, and 15 minutes later it's already the final battle. Very short final battle, mind you. And then it's finished. Literally. The movie is just too short for everything that it has, and it has no time for virtually anything. I counted, there are 12 active characters in this movie. Ruby and her family, including her uncle and grandmother, that's already 6 characters. Ruby's friends, that's 9, her crush, crazy captain who wants to capture the sea monster, and of course Chelsea. And every character I mentioned has at least a couple of lines to say. This movie simply didn't need so many characters. The Captain Monster Hunter could have been cut out of the movie easily, without affecting the main plot much. I would also get rid of Ruby's friends. Ruby complains to Chelsea that despite living in Oceanside her entire life, she doesn't feel like she belongs, and that people treat her like she's a weirdo. But in the movie, the only one who treats her with suspicion is the captain, who is also believed to be crazy. Ruby has best friends, and the boy she likes seems to like her too. It could have been much better if Ruby actually didn't have any friends, and was lonely until she met Chelsea, who became her first friend, and the only one who understands her. Cut all the characters I mentioned before, and the story would just get better. Focus more on underwater stuff and the relationship between Chelsea and Ruby. Their relationship was highlighted in the movie's frankly strange promotion campaign, but it's like 5 minutes in the whole movie. I honestly can't believe Ruby Gillman is that short, and the most disappointing thing is that Chelsea, whose actual name is Nerissa, but I like Chelsea more, doesn't get redeemed at the end. Such a wasted opportunity if you ask me. Because of the short runtime, the movie doesn't seem to know what it wants to actually focus on. Does it want to be a coming-of-age story about a teenager discovering her true self? Something like Turning Red? Or does it want to be an epic story about war between mermaids and krakens? If I were to write a TV show based off of this movie, I would make a lot of changes to the story. First of all, Krakens have many super powerful abilities. They can shrink in size and resemble humans when they are on the land, but they're still blue and their ears don't look human. Why not give them the ability to also change skin color to better blend with other humans? Krakens can literally shoot lasers from their eyes. I'm not even kidding. The characters from Luca could completely change and look like humans. So why not add this feature to Krakens? Unless of course Canadians in the world of Ruby Gillman look like this. Then no questions asked. Being a TV show would have helped the story to better explore the underwater world, which seems very fascinating, and Ruby's emotional dilemma as she has to choose between being a princess of the Krakens or just a teenage girl who goes to a human school. Having so many characters would have been justified, and they would have actually affected the plot. In my version, Chelsea is not Queen Nerissa, but her daughter who seeks to avenge mermaids and defeat Krakens. At first she wants to use Ruby Gillman, but the further the story progresses, the more genuine the relationship between the girls becomes. Eventually Chelsea is redeemed and she and Ruby become real friends. After that they help to restore peace between mermaids and Krakens. The story could have been insanely interesting. Imagine if Kipo and Age of Wonder Beast, also a story about a teenage girl who can turn into a giant beast, was an 80 minutes movie instead of a show. It would have been pretty bad, just like Ruby Gillman. Now some other things that I didn't like. Humor in Ruby Gillman is pretty obnoxious and pandering to Zoomers is irritating. The fact that the writers are in their 50s and one of them, Pam Brady, worked on South Park in the 90s makes it even more embarrassing. You really don't need to include fonts and social media to your story if you want to appeal to younger audiences. You just have to make a good movie, that's it. Fantasy and sci-fi stories do not have familiar technology, but we still love these genres immensely. Ruby Gillman is certainly a huge wasted potential. If someone from DreamWorks is watching this video, please contact me. I can write a Ruby Gillman TV show for you if you want. You can pay me less money than you usually pay to your writers. I really like these characters and lore, and it's such a shame the movie turned out to be like this. You can always send me an email, I'm always available for you. Thanks.